parte muy importante de nuestro análisis de los evangelios tiene que ver con el concepto del periodismo. Y los escépticos dicen que los 4 evangelios son puro mito y pura leyenda. Son fábulas, dicen algunos. Y por eso hemos invitado esta noche a una periodista. Y esta periodista ha leído recientemente los evangelios y también viene de un punto de vista bastante escéptico. No sé si quisiera compartir en parte eso. Pero tenemos aquí una periodista que escribe por el Washington Post, se llama Amy Shipley. Vamos a recibirla. Y también tengo que decir que también ha investigado mucho para ayudarme a preparar este material que estoy presentando esta noche, y también estamos utilizando sus talentos. Pero Amy, ¿por qué despertó interés suyo en leer los evangelios y por cuánto tiempo más o menos ha tenido interés en leerlos? So, what has piqued your interest in the 4 Gospels? And I understand that just recently you have begun to read them with earnest and to examine them. And perhaps you could comment on that and also on your perspective as a journalist as you read them. To comment, please.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I don't speak Spanish. I did read the Gospels for the first time 2 years ago, for the first time in about 30 years. I hadn't read them before, but I kind of forgot what was in them. And I wasn't reading them as a journalist. I mean, I wasn't seeking some journalistic perspective, but I was very, it really caught my eye that the style and the content of the Gospels was not what I expected. I thought it was really cool how journalistic in style the Gospels were. And when you consider they're written by evangelists, you expect, I mean, I expected that these would be books of sort of advocacy. And they are ultimately, I mean, they are works of advocacy, but the style is so restrained and the content is so historic and detail-oriented that you don't feel like something is being shoved down your throat. I think the fact that it's not written in a style that makes you feel like it's being shoved down your throat made it more credible for me. And it was also so similar to the style I've been sort of taught as a journalist. I thought that was odd and kind of cool. And I noticed this both in the content and in the style of the writing. Some of the content things, you wouldn't expect advocates. You know, these people are clearly advocates of Jesus and they want you to believe this message, but yet you have Jesus associating with women left and right in ways that would have been scandalous. And I don't know, you wouldn't want to include those if you were trying to make up some sort of legendary tale of this guy that, you know, we want people to believe in. I mean, like, why would you put in all of these interactions between Jesus and women, which are clearly scandalous? And the same with the disciples. They're presented as such dim-witted morons who are cowards and they're concerned with themselves, and they're not actually, it's not like there's some heroic ending for the disciples. They're as bad at the end as they were at the beginning. And that was interesting to me too. Why if you want to tell a story that's supposed to attract people, do you have these characters who are the opposite of heroes? And there are other elements too, like, for example, the depiction of Jesus at the very end, where he's distraught about this coming death, and on the cross, what he shouts, it's, you know, it's not heroic. In fact, I was really confused by all of that. I needed it explained to me. So there was just a lot of stuff in there that struck me as not advocacy, the type of writing that I would have expected. And so finally, I thought the content stuff was very cool, but what I thought was the most cool was the style of writing, not so much the sermons or whatever, but the scenes, the little historical pieces they're written in such a journalistic way. There's no opinion. There's no, there aren't even a lot of adjectives. The language is very spare. It's very, it's like the fewest words you could use.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Why is it so important not to feel that they're shoving it down your throat, the subject of Jesus Christ, right?
Because I wanted a historical document telling me about his life. I mean, that's what people want, and if it's just pure advocacy, then it doesn't have any credibility. So I think the idea that it reads like history, to me, suggests that maybe it is actually history. And I'm going to say one thing about it. I really like John 9, the story of Jesus with this blind guy. I suggest everyone look at it because it's, to me, captures this whole journalistic thing. It's very persuasive. You have another story in which it becomes very clear who the idiots are, the Pharisees. And you have this blind guy who comes up with these hilarious lines and evolves from this person who's healed to this person who's spouting off wisdom. But yet the way the story is told is so understated. There's no opinion. It's just the facts. It's just a dialogue. The language couldn't be more spare, but yet the message is loud and clear. That's really hard to do. That's what we are supposed to do as journalists. You're supposed to write something that doesn't have you all over it, but speaks to people in some way. And I think that is a great example of that happening. If you look at the language, I mean, there is no sense that John is sitting there and has some sort of huge opinion, but yet, read it, and it's awesome. It's an awesome piece of writing.
Sí, yo tengo una pregunta. Es una pregunta un poquito personal, pero al principio cuando empezaste a leer, cuando empezaste a leer hace 2 años, así como leías a este periodismo de los evangelios y empezaste a ver a este Cristo revelado por los evangelios, ¿hubo algún cambio?
I think there was a change. I mean, you know, it was gradual with me. I think it was, I needed all the stuff that was being taught in this class. I needed a New Testament that was credible. The fact that it was beyond credible for me, the writing was so good that I was so impressed with it. I mean, it wasn't like I read it and I was turned around, but it was a critical piece.
Okay. ¿Hay otras preguntas acerca del periodismo de los evangelios?
Bueno, cuando yo le hice esta pregunta me ayudó mucho a mí, porque no podía venir y decirte simplemente Jesucristo te ama y ya, y se acabó. Y lo que ella me explicó me aclaró por qué yo quiero seguir viniendo aquí.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing, I thought the whole religion thing was just a bunch of nonsense invented by people to make themselves feel like there was hope. I didn't want to hear about some spiritual experience you were having because I thought it was invented. I thought the Bible was basically mythology. And, you know, God loves you, that's very nice. I mean, I thought that was a great thing, but, so yeah, I needed to go through this really logically and see that there was history behind it, it was credible, and I needed to know the dating, and I needed to know what all the skeptics were saying and what the I had all the I wasn't gonna buy Jesus Loves Me.
Creo que la respuesta es que claramente eras no es una discípula de Rudolf Bultmann.
Sin saber. Pero
Sin saber.
No, yo creo que todo nuestro país, y en especial en las universidades, todos son discípulos de Rudolf Bultmann, todos. Porque todo el mundo acepta estas presuposiciones.
Tengo una pregunta y me fascina mucho tu experiencia. ¿Qué objeciones, what objections, your colleagues, journalists, have you heard over the years?
I mean, there's so many, but I think first, I think you start with people think all religions are invented. I mean, people don't, it's not a question of, well, you know, Christianity, you know, all religions are the same, you're all worshiping the same thing, you know, it's whatever makes you feel good. I mean, so I think journalistically, I get the impression nobody believes anything, and agree, the only sin in modern society, and certainly among my peers, is intolerance. So this idea that you've got rules and you should follow some sort of code is completely dismissed. I guess a consideration of the fact that there could be some truth. Kind of do what you want and whatever makes you feel good, and this is my, but I personally, because I was raised Catholic, no offense to any Catholics in the room, the rules and the regulations and the made-up stuff, I mean, this was just a bunch of rules and
Las cosas inventadas en la católica.
¿Cuánto tiempo le tomó volverse creyente?
I said, I would always say, he would always accuse me of being a non-believer, and I would say, well, I kind of, sort of, maybe, I'm not saying it's not true. I, as a relativist, I wasn't saying you were wrong. I wouldn't be so arrogant as to tell you what to believe. So it took me probably 2 years.
So that leads me to another question. Believe in Christ?
¿Creíste en Cristo como católica?
I did, when I was a little kid, I did. And then I didn't know, then I lost interest.
Then you went to school.
And then I went to college. Pastor David was the one who told me what I was. I was a deist.
Could you explain that?
¿Quieres explicar eso?
I mean, I thought you could prove there was God. I thought
Yo
it was
pensaba que
obvious
uno
with the
pudiera
beauty of
probar que
nature,
era Dios.
the sophistication of the world, and I knew there was an intelligent creature who created me. So I believed in God, but
Creí en Dios.
this whole Jesus thing,
Pero en Jesús, no tanto.
I mean, he seemed like I knew he was real because I knew that there was evidence he was real.
Pensaba
He
que
was a
era una
great
persona
teacher.
histórica. Family, what did your family think of the change in your life and thinking now?
I have an identical twin sister.
Oh.
So she is me 2 years ago, and we're the same. She's a deist who very much resents the suggestion that she's not a Christian. This whole believer, non-believer thing is not a Catholic thing. In my experience, Catholics go to church because they have to, and they, if you push them on it, they probably say they believe, but they don't think about it, and there's no intelligence behind it. And I don't know any Catholics who wouldn't say they're Christians, but I don't know any Catholics who've really thought about it.
¿Hay algún pasaje de la Biblia que te dio convencimiento?
I did like John 9. I really like not one in particular.
Have you read the whole Bible already?
Almost.
¿Quién es Jesucristo para ti?
I could answer. I mean, I know the way I'm supposed to answer it. I mean, I believe that Jesus died to save me from my sins. I believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And I think Jesus is wisdom. When we read the Proverbs and we read this depiction of Lady Wisdom, I feel like Jesus came to Solomon. That is Jesus.
The same thing. Hay un periodista que pasó lo mismo, se llama Lee Strobel, and he wrote 2 books. One is called The Case for Christ and The Case for Faith. And what he does basically, he went through the same thing as the journalists didn't believe in anything. They were having some family trouble, and the wife started going to kitchen suits and stuff. And he was ridiculed by his peers because the wife was going to. He was so reluctant that he became finally a convert. And what he does in the 2 books, he reports on the collection of authors, scholars, theologians, and all the questions. He interviews people as to why, por qué creer en Dios hay tanto sufrimiento. So I would recommend, highly recommend to you because it will relate.
Y vamos a cerrar con oración. Padre nuestro, damos gracias por lo que tú has hecho en nuestras vidas. En especial te damos gracias por tu gracia en la vida de Amy Shipley. Gracias por lo que ella ha compartido con nosotros esta noche. Gracias por el Espíritu Santo, que en verdad obraba mucho con ella durante los últimos 2 años para poder convencerle de la verdad que se revela de Jesucristo a través de los evangelios. Aquí estamos, Padre nuestro, confesando nuestra fe y confianza en los evangelios, pero más que nada en el mismo Espíritu que inspiró a los apóstoles a escribir estos relatos de Jesucristo. Gracias por tu providencia, gracias por tu soberanía, gracias por darnos estos regalos tan especiales, Mateo, Marcos, Lucas y San Juan, y por los apóstoles y sus habilidades para poder recordar los eventos, milagros, enseñanzas y más que nada muerte y resurrección de Jesucristo. Gracias por enviarnos al Espíritu Santo. Te pedimos que sigas enseñándonos, iluminándonos, ayudándonos a recibir más y más de esta gran revelación de Jesucristo. Espíritu Santo, por favor, llénanos, y mientras que nos llenas, llénanos con Cristo mismo, llénanos con su personalidad, con sus características, con sus atributos, con su sabiduría. Gracias, Padre, por nuestras mentes. Ayúdanos a seguir aprendiendo para que podamos compartir estas grandes nuevas de Jesucristo con otras personas. Te pedimos en especial por Amy, que la bendiga ricamente, que la llenes, que la ayudes también mientras habla con sus familiares y con sus colegas. Úsala, Padre nuestro, para avanzar tu reino. Úsanos a nosotros y ayúdanos a usar lo que hemos aprendido para poder avanzar tu reino. En el nombre de Cristo Jesús y por su gloria te lo pedimos todo esto.